Hi everybody, today's video is going to be all about that postpartum period. Now if someone were to ask me what they should keep in mind when they're preparing their house and themselves for the postpartum period, I would tell them blood, boobs, brain, back, and stomach. And that sounds weird, but I'm going to explain. So, blood. You're going to be bleeding after you give birth, and you know, that's just one of those things you're going to have to deal with. So, better be prepared. The first thing you want is some adult diapers. Now, not everyone swears by these. I would. In the hospital, you get these like mesh panties and big pads. They're okay. They kind of do the job for the first couple days or first day that you're in the hospital. But once you get home, I think that these things, as awkward as they are the way to go. They're so convenient. You just slip them on, kind of forget about them, and there's no, no messes, and everything is taken care of down there. And the other thing that I would really recommend people do, that is if you're giving birth vaginally, are padsicles. Now, take just a normal pad, take a big one probably, and then you're going to put some stuff on it and put it in the freezer, and that way it's going to give you a nice cooling thing. Now you don't have to do this, but I actually ended up buying this perineal balm. There you go. So I bought this and I smeared it onto some pads. I put some baking paper over them, and then I folded the pads back up. I put them into the freezer. So after I gave birth, I came home, I was swollen down there, I had second-degree tearing. These things were magic. It was feeling so good to have this, you could, in the hospital they give you kind of like ice pack type pads. It's really the same thing. They like soak the pads in water and give them to you and like wrapped. I think putting something like aloe or something soothing on there is really nice. Now this stuff is quite pricey, but the advantage is it smells really nice. So if if you have a lot of mess going on down there, it's kind of nice to have something that makes you feel refreshed and makes you feel good at the same time. Alright, so that's the blood part. Now, let's go to the boobs part. You definitely want to have some good nursing bras in the house. I recommend actually go to a maternity store and get measured when you're in your third trimester. So go to a store like Motherhood Maternity. They will take their time. If they're, if you have a good salesperson, they will take their time. They'll measure everything out, and then they're going to recommend some bras. I did that, and I'm really glad I spent the money on some of the more expensive bras. Now, once you've gotten measured and everything, you can then go ahead on like Amazon and order some cheaper ones. But I would really recommend making sure that you get the right size, because they can factor in things like your rib cage expanding during pregnancy, and they can estimate how large your breasts are going to be. And for me, they were spot on, and I'm really glad I spent the time and money to actually go into the store and do that. So during your third trimester, maybe schedule a time to go to a maternity store and prepare for your postpartum boobs. The next thing is some nipple cream. Now you can get some Lancino or some kind of generic nipple cream. For me, I would recommend the prescription stuff. Now, I had some issues breastfeeding in the beginning. My nipples were cracked and bleeding, and you're not going to get this stuff really before you run into problems, I don't think anyway. Maybe you can ask your doctor. Maybe you can actually check with them and ask them if they can give you some nipple ointment or prescribe you some nipple ointment while you're in your third trimester, so you have it at home in case you do need it when you're at home in the first few days. If not, make sure that during that first week checkup you ask them to prescribe you something, and that will make a world of a difference for your boobs. I promise. The next thing you want to have in the house are breast pads. Now this is just kind of a generic brand, kind of the cheaper version of whatever is the fancy type. But these things are really good when your milk comes in, because you're going to be leaking a little bit, and also they're really soft on your nipples. And if you're new to breastfeeding and you're a little bit sore up there, it's really nice to have that extra kind of cushion between you and the bras. And also, I don't know about you, but I had all these fancy new nursing bras. It was kind of nice not, you know, ruining them all with my leaking breast milk at the same time. Although that's kind of a minor issue. So that's my second one. That's the breast or the boobs part out of the way. So the next is the brain. I found that during the postpartum period, one of the things or not people, but healthcare professionals, so nurses and doctors, kept asking me was, oh, how often did your baby poop yesterday? How often did she pee? How long did you nurse on the left breast before you switched over to the right breast? All of those questions are really, really hard when you are sleep deprived. So you can go the good old route, notebook and pen. That's what I did for the most part. Or you can get an app. And I actually did that too. In the first week or so, I recorded her nursing on this app. I also recorded her pees and poos there for a little while, but I found the notebook was just easier. We have it lying next to our changing mat, and we just, you know, make a little scratch whenever she goes. So this way, if you have either the notebook or the app, you can actually say with confidence how often your baby went, how long you nursed on each breast, and you don't need to keep that up for very long. It's just that really in the beginning to make sure, you know, that your baby's healthy and that your nursing is on point. I'll actually leave the information to the app that I used down below if you're interested. It's a free app, just one of there's a ton of generic apps on the Apple store, so I'll leave the one I used, and it was pretty good. So that one is for your brain. So the next one is your back. Have a nursing pillow. Now this is my Boppy. I actually have two. I have the Boppy and I have the My Breast Friend, which I love the name of. I can't say that one is better than the other. I use them in different places at different times. So the Boppy, for example, is fantastic next to the bed. So in the middle of the night when I have to nurse in bed, I can just slide this out around me and it's really great. And I'm saying this is for your back because nursing can be pretty taxing on your shoulders and your back. So it's nice to have a pillow to help support you. And I really recommend it because you can get quite sore. All right, so the very last thing is stomach. Now, this might seem like an obvious one, but have a water bottle. And I recommend not only have just any water bottle, but have one where you can like flick it open and you have like a straw with it. And the reason I'm saying that is because you want to be able to drag this thing wherever you go without it spilling. You might want to have it lying in bed next to you at night when you're nursing. You're going to like hook your finger in while you're carrying your baby. You want something that is, you don't need two hands to unscrew because you're probably going to be holding your baby with one hand. So something where with one hand you can easily drink without spilling, that's the way to go. And this is just a Contigo one. Like you don't have to buy anything expensive. Just go to Walmart or whatever store is near to you and pick one of these up. Highly recommend it. And then the last thing, have protein bars or something along those lines, as well as some fruit that you can easily pick up and eat while nursing. So protein bars, obviously you want to go for something healthy, you want to go for something natural. That's really good for breastfeeding, right? You want to have all the nutrients you need. And it's actually kind of nice to have something high calorie in this case. I know we often look for those low calorie versions. I wouldn't recommend it while you're breastfeeding. Get something that's actually going to give you the sustenance that you need because A, you probably don't get the chance to eat all that often in the first few days, and B, you're going to be starving when you're breastfeeding. And obviously this is only for those who choose or are able to breastfeed, so keep that in mind as well. And then the other thing is fruit, so things like apples or something, stock up on those, have them in the house, have lots of them in the house. I don't know how many apples I ate in those first few days. It was a lot. Maybe bananas. They're a little harder to peel, but they give you a lot of energy. So those are the 5 categories that I would recommend someone think about when they're preparing themselves and their house for the postpartum period. I really hope this was useful, and maybe in the comments below, those of you who've had a C-section can chime in and give some advice on some other postpartum essentials that may be more specific to someone who had a C-section that really I can't say much about, unfortunately. So I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!